this Laker team. Very confident.
You may not think they're a great team, Doggy, but
not all time.
They could, okay, all time, but they could very well make it to the Western Conference Finals and not have lost a game yet in the playoffs. Like, that's against this Lakers squad. Speaking of the Lakers squad, let's focus in on LeBron James. It's the last year of his contract. He becomes a free agent after this year. Stephen A., should this series against the Thunder affect LeBron's move next season?
Me personally, I would say yes. I mean, I don't think it will. And let me preface this by saying this. This man has earned the right to do whatever he wants to do. In other words, what I mean by that, guys, is this. If you want to make a lifestyle decision as opposed to just a basketball decision, there's nobody in sports that deserves to make that decision more than LeBron James. So let's understand that. In a Tinseltown, Lake Erie, you figure it out where I think he should be. I mean, please, there's nothing to discuss. Absolutely positive, nothing to discuss. But here's where it gets interesting. If you're going to stick around, let's just say another year or two, let's just say that his goal is to play 25. Let's just say his goal is to play a quarter century, which we can't put past him. He might have that kind of vision in his head. My point is, don't you want to win championships? I mean, to me, when I think about a guy like a Donovan Mitchell, a guy like a James Harden in Cleveland, with a Jarrett Allen and what we saw him do in Game 7 against Orlando, with an Eric Mobley and what we know he can do, with a coach like Kenny Atkinson who can coach. Let's get that out the way. Dougie's raved about him from his time in Brooklyn, okay, before he was an assistant coach or after he was assistant coach on the bench with Steve Kerr. The point is this. If you are LeBron James and you want to be beloved, that's a given, because even though he's respected and loved here in L.A., there's Kobe, there's Shaq, there's people like that. There's different levels to this. That's LeBron in Cleveland. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he's deified there. You've got that going on. You got the opportunity to be in the Eastern Conference. You know you'd have an opportunity to compete for a championship because they can talk about the West all they want to and how highly competitive it is. You cannot look at the Lakers and view them as a team that can win a championship without the assets available, the draft capital, etc. You cannot look at the Lakers with Oklahoma City there, with San Antonio coming, okay? Denver can never leave. Minnesota, of course not, all right? You got to believe that Houston's going to be better because they're going to have a point guard next year. You cannot look at the Los Angeles Lakers and legitimately say they're in that championship equation. How do we know this? Because we're here on national TV saying that about them, and they're in the Western Conference semifinals. Because we all know how it's going to end. We know how it's going to end. Barring a catastrophic injury to a couple of players, mainly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lakers going home. It's just a matter of days. Look at the schedule and then go to Game 5. Use that as a date, okay? And just say that's the end date for this season for the Los Angeles Lakers. We here in L.A. and we saying it. We here, they right across the street. We saying it right now. Everybody and their grandmama knows this. In Cleveland in the Eastern Conference, that would not be the case. It would be an entirely different stratosphere if he was in Cleveland playing for the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference. I think you look at that. Of course, I think he'll stay in Los Angeles. Of course, I don't blame him for doing that. We just need to understand that it would be because of lifestyle reasons. It ain't going to be because you're trying to win a championship. Because, damn it, that ain't happening in the same conference as Shea Butter and the rest and Ant-Man. It ain't happening.
God, this is a fascinating situation that's going to play out this summer.
Yeah.
Because, okay, let's just look at the teams that are still in it. Like, if you want to think about LeBron would be willing to leave, just think about what would happen if LeBron played on the Cavs, as you mentioned. Think about adding him to that team. Think about adding LeBron to the Nuggets. My God. I mean,
he ain't going to Denver, though.
I understand, but I'm just saying, if you're open up the concept of him leaving,
right,
think of all the options he'd have.
Yes.
Think about him going to the Knicks. I understand it's not happening, but, well, I'm just messing. I'm not. But just think about it, right? And think about him going to the Mavericks. Just think about him going to the Mavericks, playing with Kyrie Irving and Cooper Flag.
No state income taxes. Go ahead.
Okay, so, all right, but he's not chasing championships. He made that clear. So he's probably staying here in L.A. Okay, let's say he gets to that. Let's say he's going to play next season. He's going to stay in L.A. How much are you going to pay him?
You can't give him $52 million.
Okay, but here's the problem. He's worth $52 million.
He's worth more than $52 million.
Okay, but the only way for the Lakers to get better and not end up in this exact same spot a year ago is to cut his salary. So how much is he going to let his salary get cut?
True.
Is he going to let his, because this is what Dirk Nowitzki did. Dirk Nowitzki's like, you know what? I'll take a big pay. It was a terrible mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's say there's no drama about where he plays, which, by the way, there could be drama, Shay. Like, he could sit there and go, what if I do this, this, and this if I want a championship? Seriously, I've asked people involved with this question, how much is he, what's his value? Because Austin Reeves going to want a major raise. He's earned it. He didn't play well last night, but he's earned a raise.
He's earned a raise. He's earned a healthy raise, but he doesn't deserve max dollars.
Well, that's a negotiation point.
Right.
Because there are other teams who might be offering him close to that. They got to figure out how to get a center. They got to figure out how they're going to get better than San Antonio. So, look, he's got to make up his mind what he wants. My guess is he's going to want to be a Laker and live in Los Angeles. And then how much is he willing to play for? So it's going to be fascinating.
I got something else to say, but go ahead, Doggy, you first.
Well, why does LeBron got to make $60 million a year? He's worth $1 billion. Nobody at the end of the day is going to sit there and say, wow, you know, when he's 80 years old, well, you know what? He made the most money. They're going to count the championships. If you take less money and it helps you, I don't know enough about their cap thing. I'll let Wynn take care of that. But if you take a lot less money, nobody cares 20 years from now. And it gives the Lakers a better chance to win. And he's got more money than God anyway. It's just all about ego. He's got to get paid $60 million because it's an ego thing. How about sitting there and doing what Brady did? Take less money with the Patriots for 40 years.
You can take less money. Why don't you take less money? Stephen A., why don't you take less money?
I'm not taking. Whoa. I'm not taking.
Oh, so you're saying someone?
Hold on. I spent years taking less money.
Okay.
That ain't happening.
And you know he believes he did too. He believes he's been underpaid.
That's
so
right.
You're at the top of your game, right?
I believe so. I'm actually not. I'm going to get higher. But go ahead.
Doggy, you're still You're on First Take. You got a channel named after you at SiriusXM. You're at the top of your game. Why should you take less?
Because I can't. Again, the channel's good whether I'm on it, no matter what I make. The Lakers have a salary cap. So if you're telling me that he can make less money and add players and be a better team, and you know more about it than I do, well, then they'd be a better team. And isn't that the idea?
Well, I would just say go into that negotiation and try it. That's
let me be very, very clear. LeBron deserves whatever the market will allow. Whatever the market will allow. And I do understand there are restrictions, but I'm just saying for him, I don't ever want to hear he's making $52 million and he gets enough. He's underpaid with what he has meant to the league, with what he has meant to each organization he's been a part of, to what he has meant to each respective city that franchise has resided in, to the local economies. When he departed from Cleveland, Doggy, they talked about it was $1 billion hit.
I understand that.
To the local,
I get it.
So again, we understand. I get where you're coming from, Doggy, because of the cap-strapped world that they live in. The fact is that you can't pay everybody, and in order for the team to assist in getting better, you know what, he has to take less. The flip side to it is that if I'm losing games with Austin Rivers, all right, and Luka Doncic, and I know they just paid Luka, and in the same breath, Austin Reeves, right? If I'm sitting there and I'm watching him, and I know he can play, and I appreciate him, and I appreciate his upside, and I know he's talented, but in the same breath, I know that's not enough to get me over the hump against Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Minnesota, etc., then you're asking me to take less in anticipation of falling anyway because we're not going to be good enough. So I get that part. That's hard for him to take less under those conditions. Everything has to fall in line right. But I will say this. Cleveland is obvious. Home, Akron, the whole bit. Let me put you breaking news. Don't fall out your chair when I'm going to say this. LeBron James, even in his 40s, with the New York Knicks. Let me be very, very clear. Hold on, Shay. The money that man would make off the court being associated with Gotham City and the Knick brand. Let me be very clear. KD and Kyrie choosing to go to Brooklyn instead of the New York Knicks cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, they'll sit up there because they've made so much money, and it's cool. But damn it, do you know the money they missed out on? I don't give a damn what anybody says. Rich Kleiman and all of them, they can talk all they want to. Going to Brooklyn instead of the Knicks, not being associated with the Knicks brand, Kyrie and KD would have owned New York. Every endorsement would have came their way. It would have been, oh, my God. And LeBron knows what to do with an opportunity like that. And last but not least, if he was in the New York Knicks uniform, let me be the first to admit here on national television, any negative things that I have said
But,
about that man
we don't
would
believe
go
that for a second.
right out the window.
I don't believe that for a second.
I would never utter another negative syllable
now you're lying.
about that man. I'm not lying. If the man was in a New York Knicks uniform, what do you need?
For a week. For a week.
What do you need? Yeah. What do you need? I would be very, very
Great.
pleased.
So, great.
In a New York
Stephen
Knicks
A.,
uniform.
if he was in a New York Knicks uniform, would he be your GOAT?
No, let's not go that far. I cannot shred my objectivity to that degree, Shay. Good question, though.
Very
Even-
good.
Damn it.
What if they win a title? What if he wins a title with New York? Then what? Exactly.
I plead the fifth.
Exactly.
I plead the
He
fifth.
could be
I'm gonna
easily
plead the fifth.
persuaded,
I'm going to be
people,
in the New York
okay?
Knicks uniform. New York Knicks
By
uniform.
the way, if he was on the Knicks right now,
Oh, yeah. And they'd win. They'd win a championship.
They would.
it's not.
If LeBron was on the, if LeBron was on the New York Knicks right now, the New York Knicks would win it all.
It's not. It's not.
Definitively.
Put it
Definitively.
this way, I've heard crazier things.
Okay. Well, he's not right now. So let's go to the East, where the Knicks are currently playing and dominating, nonetheless.
excited.
But let's go to the
I'm
team
excited.
that kind of is beat up on the Knicks. That would be